Hey, Juwan. What have you made of the way that the offense has been able to produce lately, despite missing, some of your receivers like Chris and Rashid, and um, finding a way to overcome those set of things?
Yeah, it's something that I read earlier talking about standard, and bad teams really don't have a standard. Good teams, the coach has a standard, but great teams, the players talk about the standard, and that's kind of what it was. It's kind of how it's been. So it's really not about the players so much. It's really about the team. When the team buys into the message, and we know what the standard is, we know that we have to complete passes. We know we have to complete our assignment. We knew we had to run the ball well, we had to pass the ball well, and no matter who's out there, we just got to do what we have to do. And so, um, yeah, it sucks that we have Chris and Sheed and so many other guys out, but we got MVS in there, and he's came in late. He's done well. We have Kevin Austin coming in there late, just doing well also. So, we just have guys who are just willing to sacrifice the things they're willing to sacrifice. Like some of these receivers, for instance, aren't just guys who are catching the ball. These are guys who are blocking downfield too. So I think the biggest thing is just buying in and knowing what our standard is, and that's just to win games.
Juwan, what are some of the things that Coach Rizzi's been able to kind of instill to get this turned and going in the right direction? Is it a collaboration of things, or is it a singular thing? I mean, some of the things he's been able to do to kind of
Yeah.
hit and turn it in the right direction.
Yeah. There's been some messages that's been different, but I think the biggest one has been a message that he has since I've been here since 2020, and that's been 111. And 111 can mean a multitude of things, but the biggest thing could be just doing your job. Doing your job, watching your film, taking care of your body, doing what you have to do off the field so you can stay on the field. Just those little things. Just taking care of your 111. You're one out of the 11 guys that's on the field. If you're taking care of that, and every guy's doing that, 11 guys on the field that's doing that, you'll have pretty good results. And that's really been his whole thing, his whole message, just like taking care of the things you can take care of, not being distracted, because you can be distracted. I mean, we could have been distracted by the bye week this past game, because I mean, everybody's excited for this bye week to have going on. But I think the biggest thing is just taking care of what you have now and worry about the rest of the stuff later. And so not being distracted, just kind of having those blinders on like a horse, just having those blinders on and looking forward and just attacking the day as is.
How difficult is it to stay within that, especially I guess when you're in the midst of a losing streak and everybody wants to, I guess, do a little bit more to kind of get the thing stopped.
Yeah. Well, you have to finish well. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing about it all. Despite the end of the season, despite everything else, you always have to finish well. The one thing I always like take into account is if you think you're better than the other guy across from you, and every person on the team thinks that they're better than that guy across from them, then why wouldn't we win? And I think when you put it in that perspective, things can happen, things can work out that way. And I felt like for a little bit we kind of lost some belief, but we were still fighting. But I think the biggest thing was just, like I said in weeks prior, just look at yourself in the mirror. You're a man. Are you a man that's going to give up? You're a man that's going to, let somebody take your livelihood because this is something you wanted to do your whole life. So is that something that you want to leave this season being, knowing that you worked all off season, working hard, doing the extra hours, getting the extra cold tubs in, doing all the extra little stuff. And this is how you want to, squander the season. So you just really have to look at yourself in the mirror and see, what kind of guy, what kind of man you are.
What have you made of the way that Rizzi has emphasized finishing? And Ugo was saying that he brought like a level to team meeting and kind of had like a visual
Yeah.
reputation. Like, what does that do for the group, just to kind of visualize it too?
Yeah. Some people are auditory learners, some people are visual learners. So he kind of brought out his whole Halloween costume. He had like a jacket, construction jacket on, whatever you call it, like a vest. Had a shovel, had a level, had a shovel. What else he had? He had a tape measure. So he had a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, and a hammer. He had a whole bunch of stuff to let guys know when you come to work, you have to bring things so you can finish. You don't just show up and finish. It's all in the little things that you do. So, even for example, just talking about the hammer, when you hammer something in, that's you finishing the job. And he kind of made an analogy of just like hammering away. When people say hammering away, that means like you're finishing the job. So that was, I believe it was a Friday or Saturday. And I think guys kind of take heed to that and knowing that it's not just a message, it's not just a word, but it's also actions. And we could just kind of keep that in our heads. No, but it was good, and we know guy like Riz, like he's a personable guy, as you would know. I mean, I feel like special teams coaches, all special team coaches are like pretty personable. You got to know everybody. You got to know offense and defense, and also the guys you have on special teams, like the specialists. And so knowing that he can connect with all those other guys and deliver a message like that, I think guys bought into that, and I think guys are really liking what they're having, so they can go out and play.
Yeah, like obviously as football players, you guys have been hearing like finish your entire careers basically like, but to kind of go that length or like I don't know if it's like the silliness of it, like to see him kind of dress up or whatever. Like, does that kind of like that same message that you guys have been hearing, like presenting it a different way? Does it lighten the mood or does it make it more effective when it's something different? I guess.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but I think it's just, I think it could be both. Like I said, people can perceive a message differently, but I think, honestly, like I said, it all comes with the standard as well. And so, it's not just one person that's saying that. It's guys that's saying that too. I mean, yes, Riz is giving our message, but it's also the guys that's on the field that have to play. And so Riz isn't necessarily playing for us, but he's giving a message and he's giving a different message that he's been preaching since 2020 and adding some new flavors to it. But we also have to play the game too, and I think guys are just try to uphold the standard. And I think that was it. Like I said before, I think guys said enough was enough of losing, and it feels like every year we have to come to this point where it's always like in many people's eyes do or die. But I think, like I said, guys just want to play. And they don't want like I said, their off season that they had before through OTA, through training camp, and vet mini camp, all that other stuff to go to waste. Like why go through all that hard work? Why go to California? Why go through all that hard training camp? Why get hurt through some of the miss and working yourself back? Just to squander all that. So I think the biggest thing is just letting guys know that like, this is our opportunity. This is what you've been working for this whole off season, sacrificing time with your family so we can do this exact thing. So I think it was just a message. I also think it was just guys sacrificing and also knowing that guys, like this is our chance to do what we want to do. It's right in front of us.
Thank you.
Hey, Juwan, you have been speaking about kind of the 111th message and how effective it's been. I've been asking people over the course of, the last evening or so around your block downfield on the Marcos Valdez-Scantling touchdown. Can you take us through a little bit of kind of that moment for you and kind of what was going through your mind? And also, how much of an example do you want that to be of the 111th message?
Yeah. I just feel like I mean, people congratulate me on, but at the end of the day, I'm just playing football. I mean, anybody could have got that credit, even the lineman. Honestly, we kind of messed up on that play, to be honest with you. And honestly, it seemed like the defense messed up as well. 'Cause I mean, there was like a big old gap, and I was up the field, and I was like, man, somebody has to be open underneath, and MVS was open underneath, and so honestly, when he got the ball, I see one guy right there. I was like, I just got to make a play and try to make this block so we can get some points on the board. Because at the end of the day, we just trying to win. I don't care who get the block. I don't care who gets the ball. I don't care who scores. And I think that's just the mentality we got to have throughout the whole season. Like not caring about who scores, not caring about who gets the ball, whatever the case may be. How many touches we have, how many yards we have. At this point, we don't have time for that. We just got time for winning. And I think that's the biggest thing we got to go and carry into it. So yeah, I try my hardest not to get a flag. The guy could turn his back. So I mean, I just try to make sure MVS got escorted to the end zone and let him do his thing. All I had to do was get in front of him and let him do his thing. He played football for a long time, so and he's fast. Any fast guy who got the ball, they know what they're doing with the ball. So I just let him do his thing and I just try to get in front of the guy so he can score.
This is probably stupid, but I'm just curious. Are you and the defender, are y'all saying anything to each other as that's going on, or is that just like general football noises? Like what's
Yeah,
happening in that moment?
yeah. Uh, I don't think there's no such thing as a stupid question. I feel like there's always curious questions. But no, honestly, no. I'm not gonna lie. I get pretty tired during a play. So for me to talk during that instance, wouldn't necessarily be my jam. But I can hear the crowd. Like I can hear the crowd, and as he's picking up speed, I can just feel you know, the awareness of everything going on. So I feel a defender like kind of slowing down and turning his back and doing, I know MVS is pretty close. And so no, I wouldn't say anything. I'm usually pretty tired during the play. So I don't say nothing.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No doubt.